Other than cheating, what secret do you keep from your so to prevent upsetting them? GF locked her keys in her running car with her dog inside when picking up her daughter from daycare. I lied and said I had AAA so it'd be free to get lockout service. In reality I ordered AAA on the spot and paid the extra to have same day service so she didn't have something else to worry about. My wife thinks that our beta fish Mojito lived for like 5 years. What she doesn't know is that the role of Mojito has been played by 3 separate beta fish over that time. RIP Mojito 2 and 3. The first piece of jewelry I bought my wife was a necklace. We went on holiday and she lost it. I said I would replace it but it wasn't the same. She was upset that she'd lost it for sentimental reasons. I emailed the hotel and of course they hadn't found it. So I bought a replacement and told my wife they found it. I am notoriously difficult to surprise. I ask too many questions and it bothers me when things don't add up. My husband was so proud of the fact that he kept his proposal a surprise and I didn't expect it. In reality, I texted my best friend the day before with a list of 6 reasons why I suspected he was going to propose to me that weekend. I'm not going to tell him though, the proposal was really sweet and he put so much thought into it. My so's first language isn't English. He always says really much instead of a lot. I won't tell him it's incorrect. I love when he says I love you really much. My mom wrote me a note once for missing a homework assignment. Unfortunately, her handwriting and spelling was so bad that the teacher grilled me for trying to whistle my way out by forging it. My mom didn't finish middle school and is not highly educated. I was so embarrassed that I decided to just take the detention and public ridicule from the teacher as a liar. Then ask my mom to back me up. I now have a master's degree to make her proud. FCKU Mr. Richardson. The remote didn't disappear. I accidentally put it through the washing machine and destroyed it and threw it out in a panic. I contacted the DVLA about her aunt, who then got a letter saying she needed to be assessed before being allowed to drive. She's 83. I think she clearly has the beginnings of dementia. She stops if she has to go past a lorry, can't see in the dark, and has no peripheral vision. I personally didn't think she should be in charge of a high-speed chunk of metal. The whole family was so angry that someone betrayed them. But I've convinced them that sometimes DRs have to contact DVLA if someone has a specific medical condition and it's probably an automated thing and not personal. They seem to believe me. My so snores. Been with her 19 years and she snores every night. Mostly I can get to sleep and I sleep through it. But I know I am not getting great sleep. I've asked her to see if we can do something about it. Even suggested we do didgeridoo lessons together. The breathing technique does wonders for snoring and why not learn a weird instrument? She's never really bothered. Her snoring can manifest as sleep apnea, which besides just not being good, is a contributor to anxiety, which she has, so it'd be good for her too. So, we've recently moved. 2 nights ago the next door neighbor's dog was barking in the middle of the night and kept her up for an hour or 2. She kept mentioning it all day and kept telling me how tired she was. I gave some perfunctory sympathy but no more. Because secretly it was all I could do to not say welcome to every night in my life. It's not a big secret. But yeah. His favorite dip is like 80% mayo. He has a terrible aversion to mayo. His mom has made it when he's not been around his whole life. And now I continue the charade. It's a really good dip. Close bracket. Edit. Thank you for the silver. Also I did not expect this to blow up. My husband is totally gonna find out now lol. Recipe. 0. 5 cup sour cream. 1. 5 cup mayonnaise. 2 tablespoons dried dill weed. 2 tablespoons dried minced onion. 1 tablespoon dried parsley. 1 teaspoon garlic powder. 1/8 teaspoon salt. Mix everything together. Chill for 30 minutes, longer is better. Serve in a hollowed out pumpernickel bread bouli with the removed bits pulled into smallish pieces. Eater. I have confessed. He knew but was in denial. Every time before we leave the house I play a game where I try to guess what she's going to need while we're out and I grab it, e.g. warm hat and extra set of gloves, a small snack, inhaler, battery pack for phone, etc. Sometimes I like to slip it into her bag or purse without her noticing. Other times I reveal that I had it all along in a critical moment. So misuses words so a lot. I'm a language guy. I get the feeling that is a soft spot on her that previous partners poked pretty hard. So I just internally cringe and say nothing about it. I usually know what she's trying to say. Not me but my parents. If my mom wants to hide literally anything from my dad, no matter what it is, she just puts it somewhere where he would have to bend over to see it. Doesn't matter if it's something like a package of Oreos. If my dad has to bend over to find it, he's never going to find it. I've tested it with my own snacks when I was still living with them to confirm it works. He'd be mad if he knew how many snacks we'd hidden from him simply because he doesn't bend over low enough to see it in the cabinet. My wife once did the joke. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the idiot's house. Knock knock. Who's there? The chicken. Over text with me. I fell for it because I knew it would make her happy. She loves talking about how she got me and it makes her so happy I can't bring myself to tell her I was the one who told her the joke in the first place. Well, clearly your house does have at least one idiot living in it. One year for Christmas. She was trying to surprise me with something. But I hate surprises. I was out of a job at the time and didn't want anything extreme because I knew I couldn't return the favor. I told myself I wouldn't snoop. Just ask a few questions and express that I didn't want anything big BC poor. She decided to try and casually ask me if I was still interested in a concert for my favorite band. And I immediately knew. Her face gave it away. I knew she got tickets. But it was more. She got us meet and greet tickets. And I found out a few days later after her face kept giving it away. Christmas came and I was right. But I didn't need to act. I was really happy. It was an amazing gift. And we had an amazing time. She was so proud of herself for pulling it off without telling me. I'll never tell her I knew. Just because she was so happy. 40% of my company was laid off systematically over a 2-year period. I built up my resume. Networked and made sure I had a place to land if shit hit the fan. I also worked my ass off at the job to make sure I was the one they kept if they did not go under. Semicolon. Ended up staying with company. Getting a raise and a promotion and was pretty instrumental in turning the company around. Semicolon. She and the kids have no idea how close we were to losing my job and then subsequently our home. I still remember sobbing in the shower and giving myself a pep talk in the mirror many mornings and saying, "You can do it, just put all the fear out of your mind and be mentally tough." My late husband was a clown. Loved clowns and went to clown gatherings. I played along and smiled and laughed and thought he was eccentric and he was, which I loved, but the clown thing was getting old. We had been together for 10 years before getting married, and as we were beginning to plan our wedding he seriously suggested that we have a zombie clown themed wedding. Absolutely not. That was where the clown shtick needed to not overlap into my life. After a short time we were able to come to an agreement on the theme. Unfortunately, about 3 months after we married he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and passed within 6 weeks. While he was sick and in hospice, I hired an artist friend to paint a portrait of my husband in his clown makeup, and the painting arrived the evening before he passed and he got to see it. I'd do anything to have my clown back now. I always watch ahead in Game of Thrones. They talk during each episode. And I can tolerate it better if I've already seen the episode. I knew he was going to propose. The man is so easy to read. He's my open book. I love that about him. He wears all his emotions on his face. He'll plan a trip for my birthday months in advance but then be so excited and proud about surprising me that he has to tell me straight away or make me guess where we're going. He's not so cracking at surprises. So he's always so proud of himself that he surprised me that one time. And that I had no idea. Except I did. I heard him talking to his granddad about the ring and saw the heart-shaped lump in his pocket. Plus he'd been talking about marriage all the time thinking he was being sly. I'll take it to the grave. It honestly makes him so happy and he'd be so disappointed with himself if he thought he'd given it away. My ex used to read me chapters from whatever book he was reading at the time. It was usually me that initiated it. Mostly because it felt so warm and intimate. But also because I knew he had dyslexia and dysgraphia as a child, so it would give him a little boost of confidence. But this also meant he was actually really terrible at reading stories. I'm talking pure monotone. It made any book extremely boring and I would cuddle up next to him so I could see it and read it in my head as he read. But I like to think the good outweighed the bad. And I never told him. When I see bugs in the apartment I always tell my wife it was only one bug so she doesn't get scared. Then I kill the bugs. Edit. My apartment has had roaches since we moved in. But I didn't realize they were roaches or that it was a problem, so it's only been recently that our complex has been working with us and pest control to get rid of them. You basically have to deep clean the kitchen every night or they come out. Even if they don't come out, they're there somewhere. So far it seems like they're contained to the kitchen. But if this keeps up another month while we're trying to do everything we can and pest control is coming every week, we're moving. E2. This turned from "you're so nice and sweet for doing that" to the armchair roach expert hour after my first edit. And I don't mind one bit. Every single one of those little bastards deserves to die and I'm taking your advice to heart. I feel really bad about how much money he spends on me, food, gifts, gas money, and he refuses to let me pay him back, so sometimes I slip $5 and $10 bills into his wallet, pockets, and dresser drawers for him to find. If he gives me his card to go into stores to buy something I use mine instead and don't tell him. He'd be really sad if he found out because he loves taking care of me. My ex-girlfriend had a few too many shots of tequila in a party and passed out on the couch. When I went to check her, I noticed she pissed all over the couch. To avoid embarrassments, I filled up a bucket with water and threw it over her to disguise it as a prank. I'm that kind of boyfriend. She still has no idea. Edit. Typo. Also, thanks for the gold, the silver and the love, guys. I tell him that I'm not worried and he shouldn't worry either, and I feel 100% confident that the 5-inch mass on my adrenal gland is benign. The reality is I have no idea and I'm scared shitless. The biopsy is in 5 days. We have 2 children. My girlfriend moved in with me a few months ago and wanted to split the monthly bills. I was already covering all of it, so I was okay just continuing that way, but she was insistent. She's also not making too much, so instead of telling her the real amount, I told her a lower, but still believable amount to pay. It isn't much, but I feel a little better knowing that she's saving up a bit more every month than she would have otherwise. Edit. Thank you all for the kind words and the great advice. She's definitely marriage material. I'm shopping for the ring now. That's where a good amount of the extra money has been going. The rest of the money is definitely going towards a down payment. As for hurt feelings and sharing responsibilities, if she ever found out, she'd understand and appreciate the gesture. She's in her last year of school with a nice job lined up for afterwards already, so we can always revisit finances later. Either way, she's amazing, so I don't think she'd take it poorly. Edit 2. Never thought I'd get a chance to say this, but thanks for the gold. My so got me a beautiful necklace for our 1-year anniversary. It says love in 100 languages when you shine a light through it. He was so excited to give it to me and so pleased he'd gotten me such a good, romantic present. The only problem was that my best friend had been given an identical necklace from her boyfriend on her birthday a week prior. My current weight. We are both dieting together and I tend to lose weight much faster than her. I don't want to discourage her if I've lost 2x as much weight in the same amount of time. Edit. I'm aware that it is usually easier for men to lose weight for physiological reasons. I just don't bring up my weight loss. It's more lying by omission. Occasionally I hide bananas then make them reappear when they are brown just so she will make banana bread. Look. You bought these bananas and no one ate them so they're brown. I'm not about to waste these so why don't you make some banana bread or something? Spiders. She hates them with a passion and if I find one crawling around when she isn't around, I'll take it outside and never tell her. If one is nearby and she knows, I have to squish them as if they killed my dog. This Christmas he got me a stuffed animal of my favorite POC registered Simon, which is really sweet except I already have an exact copy of it on my shelf. Since before I met him. Now it just has a friend. Close bracket. I don't blame him at all. He's very allergic to my roommate's dog and his place is directly between my place and my work so he's over very rarely. I use that hand towel in the bathroom that I'm not supposed to use and feign ignorance when questioned. Early on in our relationship my partner, who loves taking bites of whatever it is I order when we go out for dinner, asked me if there had been anything that I had lied to her about up to that point in the relationship. I answered instantly, I don't like having to share food with you. OMG, my now fiance registered sign did this. I was completely oblivious to the fact that he has apparently hated sharing food for his entire life. He has always shared with me. No questions asked. No grumbling. We had been dating for over a year and were eating lunch at a restaurant with his family. He offers to let me try some of what he ordered and his older sister said, "Whoa. I've never seen you share food with anyone." Or something along those lines. Apparently he shared at first to impress me and be sweet and now he's used to it and genuinely enjoys it. As long as I don't steal his french fries. Not me, but my father-in-law has a good one. My in-laws tried to get pregnant for years. They had 6 or 7 miscarriages. But kept trying. Finally they got pregnant. Everything was looking great. Mill goes into labor early. Delivers the baby. They rush it out of the room and into the NICU. He dies 15 minutes later. My mother-in-law still thinks she had a stillborn child. After this they get back to work. Have 2 healthy kids. Then a few years later have an oops baby when a medication reacts with BC pills. 3 healthy kids after way more work than I would have ever been willing to do to have kids. I took a girlfriend with me on a vacation to Hawaii. First thing we did when we hit the Airbnb was shower off. It's a long flight. I'm washing her down and as I was washing her ass I notice she's left a huge tea stain on this wash rag. I'm disgusted. But I love her so I clean her up and hide the rag so she doesn't find out. Later that night, I wake up and do a secret load of laundry so she never knows. My boyfriend loves to show me memes, funny posts that he thinks I would find really funny. But I spend more time online than he does. So I've usually seen them well before he shows me. Every so often I pretend I haven't yet seen a post just so he gets the satisfaction of being the first to show me. Few years ago my wife lost her grandfather. Was working a shitty job. And was developing some of the medical issues we're currently dealing with. One night I went out to start her car to warm it up before her shift. And found a parking ticket. Pocketed it. Paid it. And tossed it without her knowing. She didn't need that on top of everything else. I suppose this deserves an edit at this point. Since it's now my highest rated comment. Thank you for the gold. And especially thank you all for the kind words. I don't consider myself a great husband. But I try. And it's things like this that I hope help make a difference for her. I hope everyone else can find the happiness they need as well. When my girlfriend was pregnant she liked to take baths every night before bedtime. Every now and again. I'd join her and enjoy that relaxing hot water. One day we are both sitting in the tub when she farted a big nasty fart. She and I both laughed and I gave her shitty for possibly breaking the tub. And there it was. I notice a few brown things in the water. Turns out she had pooed a little. I was so absolutely disgusted that I nearly vomited. I didn't want to freak out because I know she would feel absolutely terrible and impossibly embarrassed. So I turned the jets on. added some bubbles, and sat there with her for another 10-15 minutes. Afterwards I suggested that we both shower off because I had added too much soap for bubbles. I still think about those poop chunks floating around next to me whenever I take a bath. Edit. My highest upvoted first gilded comment is about jetting shitty particles around the tub while my girlfriend and I enjoyed a shitty bubble bath.